fact-checking President Biden's State of the Union speech. Are the promises made by President Biden in his recent State of the Union speech too good to be true? With facts and data at our fingertips, it's time to find out. Join us as we fact-check the president's speech, separating truth from spin and giving you the information you need to make informed decisions. Remember to like this video and subscribe to this channel to get more amazing content. Let's get into it. Here's a fact check of some of Biden's allegations. Check number 1. Gas prices down since their peak. Biden touted progress against inflation. Biden said here at home, gas prices are down $1.50 since their peak. Fact. That is true. The fact that gas prices are still much higher now than they were when he assumed office, however, was not mentioned by him. Furthermore, it's crucial to remember that the presidential policy only has a minor influence on gas prices, which are controlled by a complicated worldwide interaction of supply and demand factors. The national average of a gallon of regular gas on the day of the State of the Union was $3.45. The national average for a gallon of regular gas on the day of the State of the Union was $3.457, down from a record high of $5.016 in mid-June. It is still higher than the national average of $2.393 on Biden's inauguration day in January 2021. Biden has taken some steps to lower gas prices, including releasing 180 million barrels of oil from the National Strategic Petroleum Reserve and issuing an emergency waiver that allowed the sale of E15 gasoline. However, according to Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy, the bulk of the decline in gas prices is due to supply and demand changes and not due to presidential policy. The Treasury Department estimated that the release of reserve oil by the U.S. and its allies could have reduced the price of gas by 40 cents a gallon. Check number 2. Child poverty cut in half. Biden cited the fact that the provision contributed to a reduction in child poverty that year in his request for the Democrats' augmentation of the child tax credit to be reinstated in 2021. Let's restore the full child tax credit, which gave tens of millions of parents some breathing room and cut child poverty in half to the lowest level in history, Biden said. That's accurate. In 2021, the child tax credit was significantly enlarged, which resulted in a reduction in child poverty of about 50%. The majority of the decline was attributed to the improvement. The U.S. Census Bureau's supplemental poverty measure shows that the child poverty rate in the U.S. fell from 9.7% in 2020 to 5.2% in 2021. The lowest level since the measure began in 2009. The reduction of 46% is largely due to the enhanced child tax credit as part of the American Rescue Plan Act in March 2021, which increased payments to $3,600 for children under 6 and $3,000 for children aged 16 to 17 for lower and middle income families. The full amount of the credit is now fully refundable, making it accessible to low income parents. The child tax credit alone reduced the child poverty rate from 9.2% to 5.2% or 43%. Check number 3. Small business applications. Biden highlighted applications for American small businesses. He said, additionally, over the last 2 years, a record 10 million Americans applied to start a new small business. This is true. In 2021 and 2022, there were record high numbers of business applications with 5.4 million in 2021 and 5.1 million in 2022. The number of high-propensity business applications, those with a high likelihood of becoming a business with payroll, also saw record numbers in 2021 and the second highest total in 2022. Former President Donald Trump's last full year in office, 2020, saw a record number of entrepreneurship applications, largely due to the COVID-19 pandemic, leading to job loss and stimulus bills increasing people's financial resources. Low interest rates also contributed to the boom in entrepreneurship. Check number 4. Unemployment among demographic groups. Biden emphasized the low employment rate. Near record low employment for Black and Hispanic workers, says Biden. The claims made by President Biden are true. In January 2023, the unemployment rate for Black or African American workers was 5.4%, slightly higher than the record low of 5.3%, set in August 2019. This rate was 9.2% in January 2021. When Biden took office. The unemployment rate for Hispanic or Latino workers was 4.5% in January 2023, close to the record low of 4.0% set in September 2019, but higher than the 4.1% rate in December 2022. The rate was 8.5% in January 2021. Check number 5, cutting the deficit. Biden asserted that his government reduced the federal deficit by more than $1.7 trillion. He said in the last 2 years, my administration has cut the deficit by more than $1.7 trillion, the largest deficit reduction in American history. Fact: Biden claimed that the federal deficit fell by $1.7 trillion in the 2021 and 2022 fiscal years, including a record drop of $1.4 trillion in 2022. However, this reduction is largely due to the expiry of emergency pandemic relief spending that had increased the deficit to a record high under Trump in 2020. Analysts believe that Biden's actions have added to the current and projected future deficits, not reduced them. In October, Moody's Analytics Senior Director Dan White stated that the policies of the Biden administration have increased the deficit, not reduced it. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget estimated that Biden's actions will add more than $4.8 trillion to the deficit from 2021 to 2031. However, National Economic Council Director Brian Deese claimed that the American Rescue Plan facilitated a strong economic recovery and reduced the deficit, and David Kelly of J.P. Morgan Funds credited the Biden administration for the recovery that pushed the deficit downward. Biden's Inflation Reduction Act is expected to lower the deficit by over $200 billion in the next decade. And that concludes our fact-checking of President Biden's State of the Union speech. We hope this analysis has provided you with a better understanding of the president's promises and plans for the future. Stay informed and stay curious, as only with a critical eye and a desire for truth can we make informed decisions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.